Hello, welcome back to Clear Blue Skybox. I'm Clear Blue Skies, and this is vlog number 12. There you go, I nailed it. This is the first attempt at doing a vlog that spans a month and not just a week. And we're going to talk a little bit about how that went. My initial plan for doing this was to record every week, just like I have been doing and posting, and then stitch them together as an edit, and then have a summative video at the end, and that would be the vlog number 12. And that didn't work for a number of reasons, but this hasn't been a disaster, and we're going to go through kind of why that is as we go through. I've got a lot of points to get through because I'm going to try and give this structure. Yeah, so we're going to see how that goes. So I'll try not to talk too long, but I am going to try and get through quite a lot of information, I guess. So there are 2 points that I want you to take away from this video. And the first point is that it's okay to take breaks. You don't have to feel guilty about taking breaks, and you need to recognize when you need to take a break. That's point number 1. And point number 2 is it's important to reinforce to yourself why you do something and your belief that you can reach that point. Like, what are you looking at, and believing that you can get there. And I'll go into why that's become something that I want to talk about in a minute. So how did the last month go? It was a bit of a roller coaster, to be honest. I did some awesome things. I went to the Amazon AWS Summit in the first week. I went to my first Unreal Engine meetup in London, which is a monthly thing, and that was awesome. I went to the Intel Buzz workshop, which was amazing. It's great every single year, and I went to that. So there were some really good high points, and I learned a lot from those events. But the first week was really tough. It was tough for other personal reasons, and it started this slow decline. It was also on the back of me beginning to run out of energy. I had realized, or after the fact, I now realize I was trying to do lots and lots and lots, typical burnout type stuff. Although I don't think this one was really. It wasn't at the point where I was burnt out. It was more at the point where I just needed to take a smallish break. I wasn't like getting sick. I was just running out of energy and then trying to force myself to keep doing stuff, which is the road to burnout. But it's something that I've learned to identify a little bit earlier. I think I've talked about this before. So week number 1 and then into week number 2 was me suffering from that process. Not catching the signs like I should be, and I think it's really important for if you want to do, or if you have something in mind that you want to get to, and you feel like you have to work hard to get to that, because that's fun, right? Or fun. That might be how you feel about it. Then you need to recognize and keep track of your personal signs about when you are running out of energy and need to take a break, and you have to come to terms with the fact that taking a break is a part of all of this other stuff. It comes with it. For me, it's negative language about myself, and it's forceful language about myself. I tend to start, because I take a notebook, as you've seen in my notebook, I'll write, I need to do this, I have to get this done, I have to start doing this. There is no chance for me to step back when you're using that kind of language and say I can't do this, or I won't do this, and that just leads to pushing yourself further into this hole. And the negativity thing, in this first 2 weeks, I started getting to the point where I just didn't believe, and it was on a slightly subconscious level for a long time. I didn't believe that I could get to where I wanted to go, and I completely lost where I wanted to go. And I'll go into more detail on that in a minute as well. But so what I ended up doing is, I thought I caught the signs on the first week. I took the Sunday off, did nothing. It was a little bit better, but then I tanked again because I tried to go straight back into it in the second week. And then I got to Thursday in that second week, and I took 4 days to do no work at home at all. I went to work. Actually had to do some overtime as well. But as soon as that like paid work was done, I just did nothing. I watched sports. I watched the sumo. I watched MSI for League of Legends. I played League of Legends. I finished reading a book. And I just enjoyed myself. And that was really good. I took time to recharge, and you need to do that. But by that point, some damage was already done. My confidence was shot, and my focus was all over the place. I couldn't really string together a sentence very well, even. So the third week was rebuilding that. It really showed, and the reason I'm not using the recorded vlogs, because I did do them, is that they showed the complete lack of focus. They're really short, which is kind of fine. My bits should maybe be a bit shorter, but they don't really have any content. My brain is just jumping back and forwards, and 2 of them are really bad quality because I just didn't check. I'm a little bit worried that this one is going to be actually, but I did some test runs and hopefully this one should work out okay. So I even if I had been able to salvage something from them, I kind of had to scrap them because they just weren't good quality in any way, and they weren't supporting anything else. They weren't aligned with anything, and that's something, yeah. So the third and fourth week we're building back up, and on this last week I've regained some footing, and I'm feeling much more aligned with what I want to do, my belief that I can do it. And this leads into this second topic, which is the idea of reinforcing those points. Now we're going to do something a little bit more focused, and I'm going to point you to the idea of neurological levels. You may have heard of this. It's a neurolinguistic programming concept which was developed by Robert Dilts, and it is the 6 levels of I guess energy or processes, or six levels of stuff, whatever, that allows you to unlock possibility, essentially. So let me just show you that. Okay, so these are the 6 logical levels. Some background to this. I have recently been going to some training courses, or a couple of training workshops at my job, and they had a guy in who talked about this kind of stuff, and I really realized how much this is the kind of stuff that resonates with me personally. It's something that I ascribe to without knowing that this existed, that people had done this as a personal. This is what I feel allows me to have focus or work on stuff. And when I don't have these things, I notice it and lose I guess cohesion or energy to do stuff. And having it explained in these terms really helps me to identify what I'm missing. And you can see it in these first 2 weeks. So let me just quickly go over it. So I can't. Can you see my? Oh, you can't see my mouse cursor. That's a pain. So the bottom layer is environment. This is they say where, but it's really the tools that you have. What is the physical? Actually, yeah. I'll go from the top. So the very top is this idea of mission or vision, or it used to be called the spiritual level, but I think vision is the best way to describe it. The idea of vision is understanding what the world looks like when you achieve your goal. So this whole thing is based on achieving a goal or a ideal, that kind of thing. So what does the world look like when you achieve your goal? That's why it says who else. It's what do people say? What do people think? What do are there people involved at all? Is it just about what you think? how have you changed the world and that doesn't have to be at like a global scale. It means your part of the world. What does it look like when you achieve what you achieve? And this is the driving, aligning force that allows you to know what it is that you're shooting for with your goal. Like the individual pieces of things that you do are not the same as the vision that you're trying to achieve. So this is where like all your like passion and energy comes from this kind of area. Then there's this identity or purpose level, and that's who are you when you're doing this? Like, what is it that you want to be when, in order to achieve the world that you have specified as your mission or vision. Again, and this is it. Having this aligned to your vision means that you can drive towards being the right kind of person to fulfill this world, and you get some more energy from that. Then there's the beliefs or values, and this isn't the idea of faith, although faith does come into this, because faith is a belief or value. It is what are the things that you believe that drive your identity and vision. And again, you get a layer of strength of energy out of this. Then the three bottom layers are the slightly more common. So you're unlikely, unless you really take time to think about what these top three levels mean to you. Just realized you can't see my pointer. You aren't likely to come across this so much. And you need to be thinking about all these things in terms of a goal. The bottom three are things that are surface level to a certain extent. They're things that are much more obvious to achieve. And that's capabilities. Like, if once you set a goal, how are you going to do it? That's your gaining skills and knowledge. Like, what do you need to be good at to achieve what you're trying to achieve? To allow your beliefs to come to fruition, to generate your identity, which creates your vision. Then your behavior is a step below that. How do you need to act? What time do you need to get up in the morning? How do you need to talk to people? Do you need to talk to people? That kind of stuff comes up behavior. And then environment is really environment, resources, tools. Like, what stuff do you need? Do you need a computer? Do you need a room? Do you need a desk? Do you need a chair? What stuff do you need to achieve your goals? So the easiest thing to do is to have stuff, right? It takes resources, and that can be a problem, but it's a problem that doesn't require you to build this big mental picture or drive anything. It is I need this thing, I'll need to find resources to go get more resources. Once you have that, you don't actually know. You can do, say you're trying to dig a hole, you need a spade. If you don't have a spade, you can dig a hole with your hands, but it's going to take a long time. If you have a spade, great, you have a spade. Do you have the strength to lift the spade? Do you know what people who use spades do? Or what's the proper technique to have a spade or to use a spade? So having a tool is the bottom level. Acting in a certain way is the next level. Capabilities, and so the knowledge of how to do things, is the next level. And with these things, you can do a good job, right? You can do your full day's work, but you'll run out of energy, or the concept is you'll run out of energy past that full day's work. If these bottom three exist, but they're not aligned with the top three. The whole idea is about alignment. Is is making sure that the things you have are all building towards the top part, because if they aren't, you run out of energy, because the energy comes from the level above. So if you have all those three things and they're aligned with the why of what you're doing, as in your beliefs, your values of why you bother to have all these things and do all these things and do these behaviors, then you'll get, or the idea is that you'll get another layer of energy. You'll be able to go a little bit longer because you know the thing you're doing matters to you in some way. That's why you get people who stay a couple extra hours after work, because they're doing something they believe matters. And if your behaviors don't match your beliefs, then people will see that, and they will question the validity of what you're doing, right? Or the validity of what you're doing. If you say that you want to achieve something because it helps people, and then you go around being nasty to everyone, those two things don't line up. So you can't provide those beliefs or explain those beliefs to others quite so easily without that alignment. Then the identity part, once you have all your values, once you know why you're doing something, if you know your purpose for doing this, like what your why all that stuff matters, what the reason for you being here is, and that's exceedingly hard to find out, and I still don't really know, but this is not easy stuff, and for some people this might be complete rubbish, but this makes sense to me, so that's why I'm going through it. What your purpose is for being here gives you a whole nother layer of energy. If you're doing work which you know is part of what you're trying to do everywhere, then you'll find some more energy. I had this a lot when I played basketball, because at the time I knew exactly who I wanted to be. I wanted to play basketball, and I would get up at ludicrous hours, and I'd run when I was exhausted, and I'd eat loads of food even though I didn't want to, and it was the same food because it was the right food, and even though I didn't want to, I did it every day because it was my core identity. It was what I wanted at the time. And all these things can change, and you should evaluate them to make sure that they're still valid. And then on top of that is the what does it look like to when you get to the end? What is the world after you've been the person who you want to be? Because when you know you're driving to that, and all these other things align up as well, then you get a more you get even more energy. You find a way, or the things you do are still work. It's important to realize that it's the idea of if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life, I think is not really doesn't make any sense really, because it's still work. It's not always fun. It's not enjoyable a lot of the time. Sometimes it's really, really hard, but if it goes to something, and actually on that, you need to consider it still work, because if you don't, you run into the first problem where you're not taking breaks. And all of this is not to say that you should find this boundless well of energy and you should never stop, because you need to take breaks. See point 1. But the idea of this mission or vision for the world drives you even harder. And so to bring this back to where we were, if I come back here, the first 2 weeks, what had happened, and I saw it because I have my notebook and I have the vlogs. I watched them before doing this. It had gone out of skew. I had no idea who I wanted to be. I had no idea what the world looked like when I was done, and I didn't believe I could do any. Or I didn't believe that the vision that I thought I had the vague concept of the vision I had, because I did have all these things in these first two months, which is why I blazed through so fast. I think so. I didn't have those first two levels anymore, and I didn't have the belief. The idea of belief is that is the layer where you give yourself permission to do things, to dive into and take risks. The reason that you spend a long time, based on this theory again, the reason that you'll spend a long time reading up on things or going and searching out information when you could be doing any other number of infinite possibilities of things is because you believe that the thing that you're doing will help you to achieve something, that it matters to you. If you don't believe it, then you'll not commit to things. Because you don't know that that's what's gonna work out. So I'd lost faith in the idea that I could do or that the identity that I wanted was possible, which meant that I completely lost faith in my identity, and I had no idea what the vision was. So I just ran out of energy anymore. I had the things I need, like I have the tools I need. I could do with some upgrades, but I have the tools I need. I mostly act the way I think I need to act to do the things that I need. And I know what skills I want to gain, and I'm working towards those things. But without those other things, the whole thing came out of whack. I stopped knowing that the things that I was doing in my day-to-day were worth doing. So I hit that nosedive. So this has really helped me to rebuild the what I needed. Having these workshops at this time, because this is something that I think fundamentally makes sense to me, even if it doesn't to others, is it helps me to assess, to really break down my achievement, or what I want to achieve, into this concept, and regain that alignment, because if nothing else, it means that you have focus. And I think that's why it gels with what I have, is that, or with this logical levels concept, is that the idea of focus is actually just more energy to do stuff. So that is why I think reinforcing to yourself, spending time to understand what it is that you want the world to be, and who you want to be, and then really, really making yourself understanding what you believe and challenging those beliefs, because beliefs and values can be changed, and assessed and reworked to support the top two layers, so that you are driving towards the same thing. You have to spend time with yourself and change your perception of things, so that you specifically, and it doesn't matter about other people, you specifically believe that you can do what you want to do. I think that's kind of the end of all that. So I'm quite a ways into the video. It's my normal length. I wanted to get this video a bit shorter, but I feel like there's been more of a aim here to tell you why it nosedives and how I feel about moving forward. Now that I have reassessed a lot of this stuff, I feel a lot more positive, and I feel confident that I can get there. And that's not the same as feeling like you can do it all right now, right? There's another concept, that, what's it called? Dunning-Kruger effect. Let me just see if I can find it. And that's, Dunning-Kruger effect. And it's this fancy ass graph. Oh, that's a bit negative. There are nicer ways to put this. Ugh. Alright, this is not the nicest way to put this. It's this idea that the less you know, the more confident you are that it is easy, and the more you know, the less confident you are that you can do it, until you reach a certain point where you are confident, you have enough experience in it that you can accurately estimate your understanding of it. So that is not the same as having belief that you can reach there. It is an understand. Those are two separate things. Having an understanding of where you are and a belief that you can get higher are two different things, and they're both important. Don't need this. Yeah. So, with that being said, we will jump into the rest of the week. What I have planned, and I'll talk a little bit about what's going on. I have gotten rid of all of my cards for the month, and we're going to do another month. I kept saying to people that this had been a disaster. It hadn't worked out. I was going to go back to doing weeks. I completely lost focus, and I spent a fair amount of the day looking back and trying to understand what went wrong, or did it go wrong, and what can I pull out from this. And it led to this much more structured piece of understanding about what happened, and how I feel about it. And while that's not quite as technical as maybe I'd like to get this at some point, I'd like to have, stuff to show. It has been pretty useful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another month, see how I feel about it, and attack the month with this belief that I can accomplish what I want to accomplish. The game that me and Andres are working on is getting to a point now where you can play it all the way through, and that was really fun. Me and Andres sat down and actually played the game to the end together a few times because we were just enjoying it. It's got a long way to go, but the mechanics are in place to be a game. Not a fabulous game, but a game. And we're doing a lot of work to understand what it is we don't know, game design wise, asset creation wise, because we're programmers who are still, this is the first time we've tried this. So this whole month is going to be very focused on producing pieces of art to improve the aesthetics of the game and to solidify the aesthetics of the game. So that's what this needs to be. My focus, the whole thing I want to do is to produce this game. All the other stuff that I'm doing is just to support being better at producing games, or to making games. So if I'm making a game, that should really be the focus, shouldn't it? And I've said this a bunch of times, but I didn't feel it in my heart. I didn't believe. So yeah, the next month is going to be modeling characters, trying to produce concept art. I've been drawing every day, so I'm getting a little bit better. I'm miles away, but I can get there. So it's producing concept art and environment, approaching it as an environment artist, putting in detail that tells a story in the environment. Composition, there's a composition task, although I think that's actually next month, where you do a composition, you compose like two at least 2 bars of music or something every single day to different prompts. So I'm gonna do it because I want to get better, and the game needs music, and I'm gonna do it. So that's what most of this month is going to be, and that's a lot of what you see here is modeling, composition, concept art. I'm also going to be doing the implementation for my dungeon generation algorithm for OpenGL1. I'm currently working on that at the moment. And one thing I did want to jump in and say this vlog, I meant to say it earlier, is that this whole idea of belief, I kind of did say it, I guess, gives you permission to spend a long time on something. what I found was that I was just trying to jump between everything really fast because I'm trying to do quite a lot of things. What that tends to mean is I don't spend very long on any of it, which is the wrong approach. I still won't be spending like as much time doing one thing, but I shouldn't cut myself off, because that's what I do a lot of the time. Is I'll start reading an article, it'll be fascinating, and I'll just stop halfway through and jump to something else, because it feels like doing this is stopping me from doing something else, because I didn't have an understanding of what it was that I was trying to achieve out of any of it. So for my dungeon generation algorithm, I was just trying to do something as fast as possible, reading a bunch of other people doing stuff and saying, that's probably going to take too long, that's probably going to take too long. And I wasn't learning anything because I was ignoring all the stuff that people were trying to teach me in the form of blog posts and so on. So I stopped doing that, picked up a dungeon generation algorithm from Gamma Sutra, which is really interesting, and I'm now looking into understanding Delaunay's triangulation, which is some complex math stuff, and it's really interesting, and I'm making myself take the time to do it, and I think I'm going to learn a lot more that way. So that's going to be a lot of this month, is going to try and get to the end of that as my main programming task, and I think that's probably all we need to go through. Yeah, I think that's it. So I guess as a status update for the game, it's playable, but it needs a whole bunch of work on the aesthetic side, and that's what we're going to be working on now, animations and stuff. So that's it. I'm out of stuff. I hope you found this interesting, and not too similar to all the other ones that I've done. I think this is probably what I've been trying to say this whole time, I think, with all the previous videos. That was my brain taking a look at the last X hours. How do you feel about it? This is the summation of all that in something that is considered and trying to be thought out. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. I will see you again next month, and let me know if you like this approach in the comments. Feel free to like, subscribe, post on Twitter or Instagram, tag me, all these wonderful things, or talk to me on Twitter. I'd love to talk to more people about this kind of stuff. Okay, that's it. See you later. Bye.